All right, reality check time. Everything you think you know about who buys luxury goods, it is completely 100% wrong. You can throw those old stereotypes right out the window. In this explainer, we're going to expose the absolute truth behind the illusion of wealth. Prepare to have your mind blown here. 50%. As in, the poorer your demographic, the higher the percentage of your money goes straight into just looking rich. Sounds totally backwards, right? But it's a hard, undeniable mathematical fact. Look, people absolutely love to judge. We hear it all the time. Lower-income folks are just bad with money, financially illiterate, right? Well, actually, scratch that. That stereotype is dead wrong. Because this spending behavior, it's intensely rational. It's deeply psychological. It's literally a calculated survival mechanism. And we've got the receipts to prove it. We are pulling from a massive, peer-reviewed study in the Journal of Development Economics. They analyzed granular household data from South Africa. Because it's a society with such extreme economic divides, it's basically the perfect real-world lab to see exactly how we as humans signal status under pressure. Section 1. Uncovering the shocking data. Okay, so here's the baseline. The researchers compared Black and colored households to white households. But here is the massive catch. They make the exact same amount of money, identical income. But the gap in what they spend on visible stuff, it is off the charts. Same money, totally different behavior. We are talking 35% to 50% more spent on outward appearances. Just let that sink in for a second, up to half as much more of their income. Why? It comes down to survival. When your surrounding community is economically deprived, you literally have to spend more just to prove you aren't at the absolute bottom. So what exactly are they buying? Clothes, shoes, personal care, jewelry. This is the ultimate portable flex. It's the stuff you can wear on the street to instantly signal your worth to complete strangers. It is instant, undeniable status. Section 2. The status signaling trap. Now, I know this sounds incredibly irrational at first. I mean, why buy a flashy watch when you can barely make rent? Why drop cash on expensive sneakers when you're struggling to keep the lights on? Well, society calls this foolish, but economics? Economics calls this signaling. Here is the brutal logic mapped out for you. Step 1, you live in a poor environment. Step 2, you have this extreme psychological need to stand out from that baseline. Step 3, you buy flashy clothes. And step 4, you prove your success. Think about it. If everyone around you is struggling, that flashy watch is literally the only way to prove you've made it out. The rule hits hard, and it goes like this. The lower your social group's average income, the harder you must flex. These folks aren't bad at math. They're using clothes as an essential tool. They are actively buying social status because, frankly, they have no other choice if they want to earn respect. Section 3, the hidden cost. But here is the absolute gut punch. It's a brutal trade-off. To fund this outward appearance, the essential building blocks of life get completely slashed. Spending on clothes and jewelry goes way up, which means spending on health, housing, and education has to go down. You simply cannot fund both. The actual data on this is heartbreaking. To maintain that 54% spike in visible spending, comparable Black households spend 61% less on health, 73% less on housing, 84% less on communication. That money isn't coming out of thin air. It comes straight out of basic human well-being. It creates this incredibly vicious cycle. You're sacrificing your actual future just to look successful today. The very act of looking wealthy actively prevents you from building real wealth. It is probably the most painful irony in all of personal finance. Section 4. Where the study fails. Now, looking at this, you might think the study is suggesting white people just don't care about status, since their visible spending on clothes is so much lower. So, what? Do wealthy white people not show off? No way. False. Absolutely everyone flexes. It's just pure human nature. White people absolutely flex, but they use entirely different, vastly more expensive tools to do it. Why? Because their social arenas are completely different. It's the street flex versus the country club flex. If you already hold a high economic position, you don't need to flex on the street. You flex at the country club, fine dining, luxury cars. Just look at the data. 22% of white households in the study own expensive private cars, compared to just 2% of Black households. They're still signaling status. They're just doing it in an elite arena. Different environments demand completely different tools for flexing. Being part of the elite club is the signal. Your zip code is the signal. When you already have that baseline level of perceived wealth, flashy street clothes become totally unnecessary. You don't need a heavy gold chain when you literally own the golf course. There's a quote from the research that absolutely hits the nail on the head. Differences in signaling environments shape the suitability of signaling devices. Put simply, the environment you live in dictates exactly how you are forced to prove your worth to society. It's all just a massive game of signals. So before we go around judging anyone else's spending habits, maybe we need to take a hard look in the mirror. Ask yourself, what are you sacrificing right now just to signal your own status? What future wealth are you trading away today just to look good?